What's your thoughts on government cover-ups or covert societies attempting to control humanity? Do you believe in ancient astronauts, intergalactic communication, or extraterrestrial visitations? Ever had an experience with disembodied spirits or the paranormal universe? Are these subjects fact or fiction? Each week, Tony and Eddie explore these unbelievable realities and beyond. Exclusively on Truth Be Told.
Welcome to Truth Be Told, where we believe an experience becomes truth. I'm your host, Tony Sweet. Along with me now, world-renowned psychic, Eddie Connor.
Hi, Tony. Today we're presenting an episode of the Psychic Cafe with our internationally famous friend and master psychic medium, Char Margolis.
First, we have a word from our sponsor, Earth Friendly Products. For over 40 years, Earth Friendly Products have brought you the greenest home merchandise for all your family needs. Learn more at ecos.com. That's ecos.com.
And speaking of sponsors, we have Michael Terrell, who introduces 7 new musical tones that relieve stress, promote healing, break negative cycles, and helps restore your sound sleep in just minutes. You can learn more at sweetwholetones.com.
Our guest today is one of the most prominent psychic mediums in the world.
And I can't wait to meet her. It's the first time I get to meet her. For decades, Char has helped thousands of people develop their own intuition through her personal life experiences and with her pure positive connection with the spiritual realm. As a child, Char saw and interacted with spirits. She read people's thoughts and was also able to future forecast upcoming events. Today, she's taking our Truth Be Told audience on a magical, mystical journey to the other side and beyond. Please, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together and welcome our esteemed guest, world-renowned psychic medium, Char Margolis.
Yes! Char is in the house.
I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for including me.
We are so happy to have you here.
Yay!
Yes.
Thank you.
Well, first of all, thank you for being on the show. And
of course.
Second of all, we want to make an announcement because as the owner of Universal Broadcasting Network, we're so excited.
Shot.
I know, right? I know. I know. But we are so excited to announce that Char Vision is going to be starting in July. Char is starting a show here.
Excited. Oh, thank you. I paid him to do that.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Yay!
Hercules. Thank you.
Hercules.
I'm so honored to be here, and I'm excited to be on. I better drink, so it's good luck, right?
That's right. Well, first of all, let's kind of talk about what your show is going to be about, so people will be enticed. Well, it's you. They're going to come anyway. So.
Well, we're going to talk about many things, but my goal has always been to help people understand their own intuition, to help prevent problems and attain goals in their lives. And the important thing is that everybody has the gift of intuition, with which Eddie knows. Because what do you say? I talk to dead people and you can too?
Oh, yeah.
That's what Eddie said. So the future can change at any moment, at any second, because of someone else's choice or decision. So it's up to all of us to be in sync in the moment so we know what choices to make and go with our gut. Then the other thing is that love never dies. Right. And for over 40 years, I've been getting myself on local TV and national TV and in other countries. Yeah, yep, and international. And I've been trying to help people understand that there is a spirit world and that there really is a purpose of why we're all here, and that it, that we have, that there's a reason why we're living, and that we have a purpose, and that people will know us by our deeds and our conscience, that we live with a clear conscience, because I believe in karma, and I believe what goes around comes around. So I try to help people understand that when I read for them, I'll connect them to their loved ones on the other side and help them, even in, let's say they didn't have a good relationship with their father, or that somebody was abusive. It gives a spirit a chance to come in and apologize, and where it gives people another chance to grow, because life is a school and we're here to learn, and the spirit world is a school and we're there to learn too. And so I've been blessed to be able to do what I love. I never get tired of doing it. I still have my private clients, which is my favorite thing. I speak in groups and I teach as intuition as well. But I love having the opportunity to have an intimate conversation with my clients and still help them help themselves.
That's great. And,
yeah, I love it. I never get sick of it.
And that's why you've done it. You've done it for so long and been so successful.
For over 40 years.
Wow.
Over 40 years.
That's a long time.
Yeah. Now,
and you're only 25. How does that work?
That's okay. That's what I was waiting for you to say. He had to say that.
Yeah. No, I didn't, but I wanted to. One thing that you did say that I think a lot of people don't realize is being around Eddie and yourself, and that a lot of human beings are so fearful of death.
Right.
And I think, the question, is there another side? Is there a heaven? Is there this? Is there that? And I think that's where a lot of people are fearful. But when you finally, how does people let go?
I think people should be fearful in a way. And I'll tell you what way.
Good one.
As in everyday life, there are good and bad people. In the spirit world, there are good and evil spirits. And there are a ton of psychics out there coming out of the woodwork. And they may be able to give you a name and give you a situation and tell you things. Now, I happen to know Eddie's pure and good, and I'm honored to be sitting next to Eddie today. But there are a lot of these other psychics out there wanting to fall prey on people, take advantage of their losses, take advantage financially of them, but also they think that they're the only ones who are psychic and they're the only ones who can do this. And the problem is that when ego gets in the way, it's EGO, it's edging God out. Mm-hmm. And it's a really frustrating situation. And I know people who have been in this work, and I know someone who had a near-death experience. And that's when you're proclaimed dead on an operating table, and you go, your ethereal body goes to the spirit world, and they have an experience, and then the doctors bring you back, and you're alive again. She saw demons.
Really?
Yes. See, most people see angels and their parents, and in positive good things, but she didn't, because she had to come back and learn to elevate her soul, because it wasn't her time yet. So I feel that a huge responsibility. Before I do any reading, I say a prayer of protection, because there are good and bad spirits. And what the Bible says, there will be false prophets. Not that I'm a Bible thumper, I'm not. But, and there are some people who seem to be like they know what they're talking about, when really they'll tell you 9 great things like a Ouija board, and the 10th thing they'll say, go blow up your school and build a bomb. Mm-hmm. So you can tell I'm on a bandwagon about this. I shouldn't have asked that question.
I think it's a great question, and I'm glad you're on the bandwagon about it, because it needs to be talked about.
It does.
Because most
really
people don't want to talk, especially with psychics. Are always fearful to talk about it.
Well, but the problem is because so many people are skeptical, and there's so many skeptics out there. And where do you draw the line? Like I said, the Bible said there will be false prophets. But who is a false prophet?
Right.
Who's an honest person? Who's not an honest person? Who really is guiding people in the right direction? You got to be careful who you're dealing with.
And just to add to that, not to interrupt you, but to add to it, false prophets, politicians, not all of them are bad. A lot of them are. Mechanics, lawyers, etc. It's all the same thing.
Right. There's good and bad in everything. There's
Yes.
good doctors, bad doctors, good psychologists, bad psychologists. I mean, good owners of talk shows. I mean, of networks, and bad.
Eddie's not looking at me.
We're teasing you. You're the good one. We love you. We love you.
You better
we
say
love
that,
you.
or I'll turn your mic off.
Oh, by the way, guess what?
What? Look, it's
Sunny.
Sunny!
This is my dog, and Sunny.
That's your angel.
He is my angel, and my mother's spirit guided me to him. It was a very special experience for me. So I found him on eBay.
Oh, really?
Yep.
eBay
in Michigan.
I had no idea you could do that.
Hi, honey.
Oh.
Hi, baby. Okay.
That's so cute. Well, again, I think for psychic-wise, there is a lot of ego. I mean, I remember going to psychics that have a lot of ego, voice coaches have a lot of ego. There's certain areas that people just, there's ego. And I remember had one psychic said, if you would have came to me, you would have got this job.
Bullshit.
And I was like, no, if destiny would have
brought you there.
Me there either way.
But they also might have misguided you somewhere else.
Exactly.
You don't know.
So,
we don't know. And, my goal is always to teach people to listen to their own intuition, because then you can depend on yourself. Own your power. That's where it's at.
Because in some ways, we have the psychic ability, from
we
intuition to empath to mediums. And speaking of medium, you're a medium and psychic.
I am. I'm both. I like to say an intuitive medium, because I also like to teach intuition, but I am a psychic and a medium. I am. And I'm so blessed, because my clients, I still have clients who came to me from the first day I started, like 40 years ago,
Wow.
or over 40 years ago. They're bringing their kids, and their kids are bringing their kids. Wow. I mean, I'm having 3 generations of clients, which is the greatest compliment to me.
Yeah.
That I get to see, that I get to be there. And I'll have somebody call and for a reading, and then I don't hear from them for 10 years or 15 years, and then they'll call again.
That's amazing.
What's your favorite kind of client?
The ones I don't fire.
I've done that a couple of times. In this town, sometimes you have to.
Let's say the ones I don't like are the ones who feel entitled. And, who don't understand that this is a healing work. But my favorite clients are, I don't know, I don't know, I have a lot of favorite clients. The ones who appreciate and who want to embrace their own intuition and work with their own lives and really grow and get help.
Yeah, those are mine too. The ones that really do the work and they enjoy it, and they want to get to the next level. They're curious.
Yeah.
In that healthy way. They're asking better questions about what else can I do to achieve my life purpose. And the spiritual ones. Right.
But I don't know. But I don't like energy vampires.
I've been cutting those out in the last few years of my life. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, do you know what an energy vampire is?
Yeah, I call them whiny, sucky, bitchy, moany people.
That about sums it up.
Yeah. So.
And they're not respectful of your time and your space and your energy, because reading, when you do a reading, it can be draining. You can only do so many, and then you need to just rest, and you need to be left alone, and you need to just live life normally. What do you think about this? There's there are psychics who go, oh, I can never turn it off. I can just never turn it off.
Mine turns off. And I think a lot of the people who can't, quote, turn it off are just nosy.
You think so?
Yeah.
I just don't understand that, because if you're always on, always in that space, then you shouldn't be driving a car.
And you would be in a mental institution, really.
Probably.
I would think.
But you shouldn't be driving a car. You have to be careful, you have to be careful of what you're doing, because it's like you're not always in the real world.
That's right.
So I don't know. Don't get me started. You already got me started. Time for me to leave yet?
No, we're just getting started.
So speaking of psychics and mediums, I learned this the hard way. Because I'm a spiritual person and was a spiritual person before I knew what the word psychic was.
Right.
I assumed that everyone who did psychic work was a spiritual, kind person. And what I learned the hard way is there's some phenomenal psychics out there that are as mean as snakes. And so you have to be.
You do. You know what? I always say I'd rather have a friend who doesn't believe in psychic stuff, who's a kind, loving, good person, than somebody who believes in this and who's a jerk.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Me too.
Yeah. It's really frustrating to. Do you know who used psychics? Hitler.
Oh, yeah.
He used psychics. He used astrologers. He called an astrologer in at 3 a.m. once. The astrologer said, "You're going to be overthrown." Hitler had him killed.
Of course. And that's why the psychic wouldn't predict that he was going to get overthrown so she would live. Well, I'm sure he had more than one.
After the first 2.
Yeah.
He probably had a pit of dead bodies of spiritual people.
Oh, I'm sure.
That's horrible.
Yeah.
Well, and speaking of karma, I mean, the last days of his life, regardless of what happened to him, he just kept deteriorating and got more mentally ill and physically ill.
Right.
He just
Well, I do. You know that saying, "The devil made me do it." I do believe that sometimes when people are not protecting themselves or not staying in the white light, negative things can come in there in them, and they don't even know that they're being manipulated by a demonic energy. They don't even know it because the devil was a fallen angel. Devil learned everything about good and turned it to bad. I mean,
That's true.
I do believe that. So we all got to be really, really careful when we're delving into the spirit world. It's not a toy. It's not a toy.
It's not a toy. And I think a lot of people don't realize it. That's why people do Ouija boards. I don't do them. I never did them. My brothers and sister did them. So
I did them, but that's before I knew any better.
Right.
Yeah, but they can really bring in low-level
Boogers.
entities.
Yeah.
And you do not want that around. You don't want a low-level spirit telling you what to do, because the problem with it is it'll manipulate you. So it'll tell you all these great things that are real and positive about yourself, and then it'll tell you something negative to take you on the wrong path. But there are walking Ouija boards as well. So, there are people who are the same way. So
The bitchy
depends
whiny, sucky
where
people.
you're. Yeah. Well, you know what? There might be a bitchy person who's really, adamant about protection too. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? I mean, who do we judge? We judge ourselves. Who do I compete with? I compete with myself. It's the only one I can compete with.
Is it true that sometimes these negative entities that will show up on a Ouija board and or attach themselves to certain people that are what I call a frequency, isn't it true that sometimes, even though they might look like vomit standing on two stilts, they can transform them?
Wait a minute. Okay, go ahead. I've got the image.
You're welcome, everybody.
I was trying to eat.
Whenever, can't they also manifest themselves as somebody that you love in spirit and make you think that it's really them too, to also get you to trust them?
Yeah, of course. That's true. You can be fooled. You can be fooled. We all can be fooled, really. You got to be really smart. You can't be naive.
I love it. The people who say, I am never fooled. I am never fooled. Well, look at our government.
Right. Every
Look
day.
at most of the politicians. Look at the election coming up. Are you eating chemicals or are you eating vegetables and chemicals? Hello.
It's true.
Everybody can be fooled.
But they did pass gay marriage.
Yay.
And
today.
I think that's an amazing thing that we're able to celebrate love and where people can love whoever they want and get married.
Did you hear that, North Carolina? They passed it.
Yeah. You know what my friend Stuart said?
What?
I don't know why they want to pass gay marriage. Why do they want everybody to be as miserable as everybody else?
Right. It's true. Yeah.
How many divorces are there in the world?
A lot.
Well, both my sisters have been married 3 times.
Really?
So there you go.
Well, I was divorced when I was 26.
Were you really?
Been proposed to after. We won't get into it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That might be a fun subject. But, I want to go back because Eddie grew up in North Carolina. He knew his mother and grandmother were psychics. Now, was your family psychic?
Well, I'll tell you a funny story.
Okay.
That's a good question. So, I'm on this show, in a local show in Detroit, and I'm thinking, if I'm supposed to teach this work to the world, I'm like 20 something, then I need to go to Los Angeles. So I call up 411 Los Angeles, and because somebody had told me there was a show called AM Los Angeles. So I call up and she says, honey, I think what you want is KABC. And she gives me the number. So I call up and I go, hi, who's the executive producer of AM LA? And they go, oh, his name is Ron Ziskin. I said, okay. Thank you. I hang up the phone. I call back. I go, is Mr. Ron Ziskin there? And they go, one moment, please. And they go, who shall I say is calling? Well, he doesn't know me, but I do a morning show in Michigan and Detroit, and I want to do the morning show there. So he gets on the phone. He puts his associate producer on. I read for her. I had never been to LA. They said, can can you get out here? So I had like $200 saved or something, and I bought a ticket to come out here. And there was a man named Regis Philbin who was the host of the show.
Wow, that's right.
And they all said, if Regis likes you, you'll do well in this business, meaning TV. And if you don't, you won't. Well, Regis liked me. And that's how I ended up getting an apartment here. For 30 years ago, and I got an apartment here for 1 month. I'm still paying by the month.
Wow.
In that same apartment.
Same apartment. Oh, wow. Cannot get lost in it. You kind of turn around to get everything. It's a tiny little apartment. But I am still in that same apartment. And God bless Regis. He put me on, and then he put me on his national shows. And then that's when I predicted Kelly Ripa's pregnancy. I don't know if you know about that.
I know about her hot husband, Mark Consuelos.
What do you know about him?
I just know that he's the one that got her pregnant.
That's good.
We hope.
Because that would be some gossip if he didn't.
Yeah.
So anyway, and that's how it all started. And I was a regular on AMLA for years, and then it just snowballed. And I remember Merv Griffin put me on his show. I always mix up Andy Griffith and Merv Griffin. I don't know why. And so
they were both successful. So.
Yeah, so he put me on a show. I was scared to death. My mother and father flew out. Oh, you asked me who's psychic?
No, I was just saying, yeah, but
so we take the producers out. We take the producers out to dinner of AMLA. And the wife says, is anyone else in this family psychic? And I said, well, my dad's psychic, and my dad's sitting there.
Wow.
And you have to realize I was scared to death to sleep alone at night. I saw spirits. I was when the housekeeper would leave, I would heat up the dinner for my parents. I felt an energy around me. So I'd go into the den and I'd pull all the shades on a sunny day, and I'd go in the corner and watch TV till they came home because I kept feeling energies. I wouldn't go down the basement because I felt an energy there. It was crazy. So someone had to stand in the room with me till I fell asleep at night in the doorway with the light on, because I was feeling spirits. No one knew what that was at that time. So I said, yeah, my dad's psychic. And so they said, yeah, but does anyone see spirits? And my dad goes, oh, yes, honey, I do. And I said, Daddy, you don't see spirits. You're psychic, but you don't see spirits. He says, yeah, I do. He says, Grandma and Grandpa come to my bedside at night and tell me things. I said, Daddy, why didn't you ever tell me this? I have lived in fear all these years, and I got into this work to get away to understand these fears, to like get rid of them. And so that's my story. That is a true story.
Well, but also people don't talk about it.
Like especially back then.
But my dad was so psychic, and truly, my dad was and my mother, the dearest, sweetest, kindest, most generous, spoiled me rotten people I know. Truth, really true. A lot of psychics did not have a good upbringing.
No.
When you ask your dad, why didn't you tell him?
He said because people would think I'm crazy, honey, but they put you on TV with Regis, so I guess it's okay.
But did he ever say anything about like maybe his mom and dad or grandmother and grandfather that might have had the gift?
Nope. But my mom was a wise woman, and she was always intuitive too. But my dad's the one. My dad would dream numbers, bet them, and win.
Wow.
Never keep the money. Never. Always shared the money with us.
Really?
Always.
I love
Would
that.
never keep the money. I got to buy clothes. I got to buy stuff. I mean, but they were amazing people, really. And so, but at that time, we're talking about in the 70s.
Right.
People didn't talk to dead people. Nobody knew. But I have tried to infiltrate this work through the years. And I've done it in my own little not so silent way.
Both.
Yeah.
Because you can
I've
hold the
infiltrated.
space. Yeah, you hold the space, whether anyone knows what you're doing or not.
Right. It didn't matter as long as I did what I knew I was supposed to do.
Yeah, I love stories like that because, like, my grandmother, my mom, myself, and my brother Terry all saw the same thing growing up, but none of us ever talked about it.
What was that?
It was a ghost that was at my grandma's house on the front porch. Old man Johnson died right there on the porch.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He would always show up when it was raining, and I saw him, and I was in the 3rd grade, and I saw him on the front porch. He just was there, and he was snoring and sleeping, and he grabbed his chest, and he fell off the porch into my grandma's flower bed, and you do not mess with my grandma's flowers.
Well.
And I'm like, we all gonna die. And I ran over. Seriously, I thought we were going to die. And so I ran over quietly to help him out of the garden. And whenever I reached down and he reached up, disappeared into thin air. Oh, wow. And then Terry had seen it. Mama saw him at the back porch. It was during a rainstorm. I was in the hospital, and I didn't see that one. And then he walked up to the porch, opened the door, and walked in the house and disappeared right in front of Mama and my brothers. And Grandma had her back with the slot bucket, the wood stove, and rinsing stuff off in a bucket. And she went, Mama, I think somebody's here. And Grandma said, oh, that's old man Johnson. Don't bother him. He won't bother you. And she's like, well, who is it? She's like, oh, he died on the front porch. How'd you think I got the house?
Do you think he was, do you think he was earthbound?
I do.
Or do you think he went to the spirit world and came back?
That's a good question. It could have been the second. I've always thought of him as a ghost.
Like he came back to the place he loved to be.
Yes. And he must have loved the rain, and he would sleep on the front porch during the rain or nap.
Oh.
Yeah, he loved it.
Oh, wow. I like that too.
Yeah. But he never...
That's so relaxing.
He was never nasty. But then we all talked about it whenever I turned 40 or something. I'm like, what?
Again, one of those, why didn't you say anything?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's cool
and
stuff.
Is your brother intuitive now and psychic, or not really?
Terry is. He doesn't use it, except for like he'll write poems and lyrics and things like that, and he's creative in a manly man kind of way.
Oh, the manly man.
Yes, the manly man.
The manly man.
And I like it too.
He's
Old
a man
Spice.
witch.
Yeah. And I'm just a gewitch.
Gewitch.
So yeah, he's
But
yeah.
not a son of a.
No. Oh no.
Son of a gewitch?
No. Son of a gewitch. Yeah. So what was the most outstanding thing that ever happened to you that just blew your own mind as an intuitive?
You know, probably this story that the side cops, those skeptical people tried to say we're not right, but this truly happened. And you can ask Shirley MacLaine, because her office referred me many, many years ago. Dean Martin, the famous singer, had a son who was in the Air Force, and his plane was missing. And they asked me Shirley MacLaine's office referred me to the family. And I met with Dean's son and Ricky Martin, not another Ricky Martin, and his best friend Scott. And I sat there, and like they took me to the Air Force Base, March Air Force Base, and there were all these guys in uniforms, and I'm there in jeans, which I'm always in jeans, but they said, you know, I pointed on the map, and I said, somebody heard this. And they said, yes, there was a little girl who heard it. I said, let me talk to her. So I talked to her. And I said, he's like right here. And I point on the map. And they said, oh, well, we've already looked there. I said, no, you've missed it, because it's camouflaged on the side of a mountain, and it's hidden. And that's why you can't find him. So you need to go back there. So we stopped. The Martin family rented a civilian helicopter, and we started going through this canyon. And I said, go right, go left, like I knew where I was going. It was crazy. Go left, go right. Then over the helicopter pilot gets a thing, all civilian helicopters have to turn around. All civilian aircraft have to leave. So we went back. Now, they had been looking for him for a week. Within 2 hours, I pointed on the thing, and they found him.
Yeah. Oh.
The captain of this called me that night. I was exhausted. It was midnight. And he said, I just want you to know you made a lot of skeptics into believers today. Now, the Skeptical Society has tried to say I didn't do it, and they talked to the pilot, and the pilot said I didn't do it. Well, the pilot wasn't informed of what was really going on. He was just taking orders.
Yes.
He didn't know where the orders were coming from. So Ricky Martin and his sister, I think Gina or Dina, I forgot which one, wrote about it in their books that they wrote, that I help them. And if you talk to any of them, they will tell you that I did this. And Shirley MacLaine knows as well.
Yeah.
And Shirley said, "Oh, poor kid." And we said, "Well, why poor kid?" See, I never made publicity out of it. I never made a big deal out of it. I did this because a family lost their child, and I wanted to help a family.
Yeah.
It didn't matter that they were famous or not. I just wanted to help. I didn't do it to exploit them. I did this because a family asked me, and I wanted to help a family. He says, "Well, she didn't get any publicity around it, so you know what? I got great karma and peace of mind."
That's the bottom
I
line.
call it good sharma. I have good sharma.
Oh, you need T-shirts.
I'm going to get a T-shirt that's good sharma. Will you wear one if I
I
get you
will
one?
wear one if you get
Okay.
me a sports bra to go with it.
Okay.
I'm a hefty girl.
I know. It's good sharma, right? Good
Love
sharma.
that.
I'll get some T-shirts.
Yeah.
So when you
Thank you for asking me that question.
No, that's a great question.
But I don't know if that was the most important one, but it was one where it gave me confidence to know that I could keep doing this and really do some things that were unbelievable.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's tough doing this.
Yeah, it gave me the confidence to know that if I can do that, I can do a lot of different things and help the world because
Yeah.
I'm here to help.
Yeah.
When did you realize that, though? When did you realize? How old were you when you finally said, "This is what I'm here to do"?
I think I was like around 22, and I read for somebody that I had never met, and someone said, "You can read." I said, "No, I can't read." "Yes, you can read." I said, "Okay, then I can read." And I read for a stranger, and I knew things that I couldn't have known in a million years, and names and situations, and I had an epiphany in that moment. In that moment, I had an epiphany that this is what I was supposed to do the rest of my life. Because I always knew I was supposed to help people. And my mom and dad said I used to walk around when I was 4 years old saying, "I'm going to be famous. I'm going to be famous." I don't
At
remember
4
saying
years
it. Yeah, at 4 years old. I didn't know what I was talking about. I mean, I didn't know I'm going to be famous. So
Well, I know you said your sister does past life.
yeah, my older sister Alicia, who's going to be on our launching show date is July 10th on UBN.
Char Vision.
Char Vision.
Right after this show at 6 p.m.
I'm very excited. And my big sister, excuse me, who's really little, much littler than me, she's like 4'11", weighs like so little, she's brilliant. And she does past life regression. And she's studied with Brian Weiss, and she studied with a lot of different people. And yeah, I'm friendly with Brian. Brian's wife, Carol, is a wonderful girl. When my mom was alive, and she would go to Florida to see her friends, Carol would pick my mom up at the airport and make sure she got to her friends okay.
That's so sweet.
They're the nicest people. Brian Weiss is an amazing man. So anyway, my sister does past life regression, and she's incredible. And to me, she's the star of the family, really. And we have another sister, too, who's our middle sister, who's brilliant and amazing and intuitive as well, really intuitive. Yeah, I mean, I've been very blessed. I just am, and I know it. I don't take advantage. I don't take it for granted. I appreciate all that I have. And, and I have a nephew, my sister's son, who's an extremely successful businessman because he's intuitive.
And I think
extremely successful.
I think that's the wave of the future, the authentic wave of the future. If you're not connected to what I call your heart, mind, and your gut brain, you're not going to do well going into this next stage of the 21st century. And I think you have to have the balance and really utilize that non-physical aspect of yourself. Your sister that does the past life regression, does she tune into you and tell you what the lives were?
That's what I
Or
wanted
does
to
she
know.
No,
walk you
what
through
happens
it?
is she hypnotizes you.
That's what I thought. Okay.
And then you go, you see it yourself, and you're awake, but you're sleeping. It's a weird feeling. But I took her on a TV show in Cleveland once, and she said, "Let me hypnotize you." She said, "I'm going to progress you into the future." I said, "Okay." So she gets me this whole thing, and I'm sleeping. And
this is live on the air?
No, this was in our hotel room that nobody saw.
Oh, good. Okay.
We were on TV the next day.
Okay.
And she's the psychic one about this, by the way, because this is the question she asked me. This was in the 80s when there was an attempt to attack the World Trade Center.
Oh, yeah.
She said, "Do you think the World Trade Center will be attacked again?" And I guess in this trance I said yes. But why would she even ask me that question? Out of any question she could ask. Come on.
That is pretty, yeah.
Come on.
It's just one of those things in your world where it just seems like it's a thought that comes.
Right.
And there's nothing to it, so we think.
Right.
But it's just like me coming in with my hair all did and everything and spending X number of hours with Chris Rios doing the hair. And then the first thing you say is something about the energy here. And you said, oh, so there must still be a lot of energy around her working on your hair. And I'm like, yeah, it was
well,
just
the
there.
first thing I said to you is, I love your hair. How spiritual is that?
Yeah.
I said, oh my God, I love your hair. You have great hair.
Wow.
And I didn't know that you did anything to it just now,
Yeah, 'cause
but I
we've
felt
never
it.
met.
I felt it, but maybe because that energy's still around you, and you were probably feeling good about your hair.
Just
you
like,
should be.
Yeah, thank you. Just like the energy of the World Trade Sister and your
Right.
sister and talking about it. And what else did you see in that future?
Future
life.
I don't
progression.
remember. I don't remember everything, but I can tell you a funny story that happened with Brian Weiss.
Okay, hold on.
Do you want to? Oh, we got to get him over here.
Yeah,
Right?
okay.
Okay,
I'm ready.
so
I love Brian.
So Brian says to me, I don't know if it was in Michigan or no, I think it was California. I was here, and he said, "Will you?" I said, "Brian, I'd love to come to one of your events." He said, "You want to help me out?" And I said, "Sure, I'd love to help you out. What do you want me to do?" He says, "Well, I want you to pass out these papers and put them on the seats." And he says, "And then there's about 200 people, and I'll be on the stage, and then." When I regress everybody, I want you to keep an eye on everybody's purses because, you don't know what might happen. Somebody's got to be like the security guard.
Well, in a pickpocket in a former life, that's going to make their way through.
That's funny. So I say, sure, I'll help you out. I'll just sit in the back and I'll watch. So he starts saying, everybody take a deep breath, and everybody's taking a deep breath, and I'm watching the purses. And then he says, and now you're in a beautiful garden. And I'm thinking, oh, yeah, that's a nice garden. And he says, now, and take another deep breath and go deeper and go deeper and go deeper. And there's a bench. I want you to go sit on the bench in the garden. And I want you to take a big deep breath. And boom, I'm out. I was a man riding a horse. I had these I was a knight in shining armor. I totally got regressed to past life that I thank God no one's purse got stolen. That's all I got to say.
You could have jousted them. So you're highly suggestible.
I must be suggestible.
See, I'm like that with Keebler cookies and stuff. Like I'm driving down the road and they'll say, and there's a new cookie with Keebler at Vaughn's, and my car will be in Vaughn's parking lot. I'm like, why am I
Really?
here? I'm really suggestible. I truly, no, I am. So I love stories like that.
It's a true story.
I thought you were going to say you were sitting there and then you saw the personalities, sub-personalities of all the former lives beings walking in.
I was so not psychic. And I was so not a good security guard.
But isn't that true? Like, it doesn't matter that you do this for a living and it's your life purpose. When you're shopping for Elf Witch cookies, you're shopping for cookies.
Yeah, well, the thing is that, my sister's a Magoo, but I'm kind of taking after her. I'm the Magoo-roo. And I don't know, for all you guys listening, Mr. Magoo's a cartoon character, and he'd walk into walls, and he was blind, and, he'd walk onto ramps and not know that he's being put up in the air and whatever. So my sister and I have been in the car, both lived in our houses when she lived in her other place for 20 years. We're driving from her house to my house. And I'm driving, and we're talking, and we're talking, and we're talking, and we're driving, and she goes, and I said, "Oh yeah, they're building up around my house a lot, because I still, she, they all moved to the more rich area, and I'm like still in the other area." So I said, "Yeah, they are building up." She goes, "Wow, I didn't know there's a Shir Shalom here. That's a synagogue." I said, "Yeah, I told you they're really building up here." And then finally, we're driving. She goes, "Shalene," because my real name's Charlene. Shalene, I go, "What?" She says, "We went in a circle." There's Shir Shalom. We went around the block.
Oh,
we didn't go to my house.
God.
We were 20 minutes. Mile to mile to mile. We kept going in
Oh,
a circle.
my God, that's hilarious.
Both of us. And she's a PhD in psychology. I have a teaching degree from Wayne State University.
Well, direction just wasn't your thing, I guess.
Yeah, it's just not.
Yeah.
Well, because time's going really fast, I want
Okay.
to talk about some of your books
Okay.
What was your first book that you wrote? Was it Life?
No, Questions from Earth, Answers from Heaven. And that's probably my signature book. And that talks about life after death and connecting with your loved ones in the spirit world, and also about some intuition, how to be intuitive as well.
And what enticed you to write a book? What made you want to write a book?
To teach. I've always wanted to teach and help people. And I knew writing a book was the way to do it. And so I've been able to write different books. You know, I had TV shows in the Netherlands for like 10 seasons, and every season I wrote a book. I have something like 7 books in Dutch, and I don't even speak Dutch. I don't.
Wow.
I don't. It's crazy, right?
Yeah.
I had to have bodyguards. That my shows were so, thank God, touch wood, well known there. So that's why I love that I have Char Vision, because now all my Dutch fans, I hope, will listen. And
Yes.
and I go to South Africa, and the South Africa clients maybe will listen. And then I'm on a show called City Line in Canada. I'm a regular on it. And so I'm hoping that people from all over will come and listen and share with us. And I'm so excited to be here.
That's so cool.
It's so glad to have you here. I'm very
Thank
honored
you.
to have you on the station.
You're an angel.
And just getting to know you over the last, couple months, it's been a pleasure. You're
Thank you.
That's why I said you and Eddie are so much alike, because you have such pure
So
souls,
Thank you.
and you're very down to earth. Every time you try to compliment you, you're like, both of you are like, oh no, I don't know.
Let's do that at the same time. You ready?
Okay.
Yeah. But it's true, and I just that's
You're
what
funny.
that the Southern Fried Psychic right there.
You're funny.
But so, being on many shows, has there ever been somebody that challenged you that was a skeptic, not the skeptics out there that just,
And turned into a believer, you
yeah,
mean?
on a show, or instantly as soon as you gave it, because when you gave me a reading the other day I wouldn't even ask, it blew my mind. I was like, wow.
You know, I don't know if I can remember one situation, but, I've been lucky, too, that, well-known people have allowed me to read for them. And I know that I've turned some skeptics into believers, and, that's great. I mean, it's wonderful, and it's an honor, but I don't know if there's just one. I mean, I've been on with so many different people, and I've been interviewed by so many people. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know if there was one specific one that, totally. Well, I'm sure that when I predicted Kelly Ripa's pregnancy,
that changed
totally
a lot of-
she keeps telling me it's because of me that she got the job. I said, no, Kelly, it's because you're a talented young woman, and that's why you got the job. She said, no, I know that's why I got the job. So, but I'm sure there are other people, but I don't know. They would have to tell us. They'd have to call in and tell us.
Right.
I don't know.
Well, before we go, also we have Chakra therapy. So talk about the CDs.
Okay, so
Ooh.
I had music composed by an energy healer who's a chiropractor, and he's also a musician. And he composed this music to help balance our chakras. I used to go to a healer named Hetty, and she used to wave her hand at my stomach and over my head. And she goes, you're out here, and I didn't know what she was doing. But she was balancing my chakras. And each chakra resonates with a different part of our body, an energy center. And when you meditate and you listen, and each chakra resonates with a certain color and a certain musical note. So when you meditate and you listen to the music, and I take you through it step by step with my voice, it by the time you're done, like when I was done with Hetty, I would feel like $1 million. And after I listen to my CD, I feel like $1 million. It's like a $20 CD, but he did it energetically, scientifically, because he is a healer and he understands chakras. And he's a doctor, and he's an energy healer, so and a musician, which how do you find somebody like that all in one, all rolled in one?
Well, and where do you find your books and your CDs?
Oh, you can go.
That's right.
You can go to
Yeah.
char.net, char.net, and you can call or order them online or PayPal or whatever. And
Are they on Amazon too?
they're on Amazon. My Chakra therapy's on iTunes.
Ooh,
Oh,
nice.
child.
Yeah, and on CD Baby.
And it's also a narrative,
CD
right?
Baby.
Like you is it a spoken?
Yeah,
therapy?
I narrate you. I take you right through all the chakras, but then I also give you a CD without my voice on it in case you get sick of me.
Oh, I think that's really smart though, because you have the best of both worlds that way.
Yeah, and like if somebody's doing like a massage therapist, you don't want all of a sudden, Char's voice booming in saying the root chakra. The root chakra, it grounds you, the earth below your feet. But honestly, when I listen to it, it really do not listen to it in the car. Do not.
No.
It's dangerous. It's kind of like me going to Brian Weiss and getting
And being a
regressed.
security guard.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
Yeah, let me know if
Don't
I need
listen
to
in the
make
car.
some extra money. I'll
Yeah.
know it.
I was going to do a guided meditation on weight loss, but the potato chips kept getting it was crazy. It's like you're getting thinner, crunch, crunch, crunch.
That's hilarious. I love potato chips.
I do too with chocolate.
Chocolate?
Oh yeah.
Chocolate potato chips.
God.
Yeah, you did. They have chocolate covered potato chips. I'm from the South, child. We will put chocolate on a guinea pig.
I've been on this diet and I haven't had any carbs like that for over 2 months.
And she looks
Tom-
good.
I
Well, thank you, but
know.
tomorrow's my day that I can have carbs, and I hope I don't screw it.
She'll come back.
I
with
love
like,
pizza. That's what you're
Oh,
reading
pizza.
my mind. Talking about psychic, he's reading my. All I want is a piece of pizza from Whole Foods,
Oh,
Oh,
and
my
I
God.
know I could go to a junkie place for pizza.
And they got some mac and cheese at Whole Foods, so it's okay.
Oh God.
now you're making me hungry.
Yeah. Well,
All right, so July 10th.
July 10th.
Char Vision, right here on UBN Radio, Channel 1, 6 p.m.
Oh, right after us.
Right after us.
But
so
thank you so much for inviting me.
Of
Thank
course.
you for Eddie. It's so lovely to meet you.
Yay!
You're lovely. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's been wonderful to see you.
and Char, we thank you, and I
Thanks.
love you to death.
I
And,
love you more.
and I think Sonny should do a chakra therapy for pets.
You know what?
Oh, hey,
He
that's
could-
not a bad
He
idea.
could do that. He would
I
like
think
it.
that would. You know how many people would buy it just because? Look
Yeah.
at that face. Look at that face.
He's
He's
like,
so
is he the
cute.
cutest? See, this is one of his outfits for the show.
I know he's so cute.
Yeah, because he's such a good boy. He's such a mama's boy too. Very blessed.
Aw,
I'll
he's
tell you one day
adorable.
if you invite me back. I'll tell
Oh,
you the
please,
story
you're
about
coming
how my mom's spirit guided me to him.
I love stuff like that.
It's a
I
real,
do.
it was a real blessing.
Yeah, I can't wait to,
I
because you
wish-
told me it, and then it was pretty amazing.
And I wish everybody at home a wonderful, wonderful weekend. And if you can find the time to watch Char Vision, I would be grateful. Thank you.
And we're gonna twist your arms if you don't. Yep. All right. Well, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take just a quick break, and when we
Okay.
come back, we have Eddie. Who do we have coming up?
Lindsay Wagner.
Who?
Lindsay Wagner.
Who's that?
Wow, the
bionic
bionic
woman.
The bionic
woman.
woman.
I love her.
Wow.
And then after that, we have Tice,
Diorio.
and he is an Emmy-winning.
Dancer, choreographer, actor, singer. Actually, he does everything. He's a quadruple threat. That's what I said.
So
Wow.
don't go anywhere. Thanks, Char.
Thank you,
All right,
Tony.
be right back.